Hi everyone, welcome to the Sip and Spin. I am the Tipsy Spinster and today marks day one of the 10-year anniversary of the Tour de Fleece. For those of you that are new to this challenge, the Tour de Fleece runs in conjunction with the Tour de France, a bicycle race that began in 1903. Some interesting things about the Tour de France. Beginning in 1954, in an effort to raise awareness and to get more people interested in this particular sport, cities started to bid on the opportunity to host the Grand Depart, which is opening day of the cycling race. Between 1954 and 2007, that opening day bounced back and forth between just a handful of cities. But in about 2007, every 2 years, the race starts someplace new. This year, opening day, or the Grand Depart, begins in Copenhagen. I've actually been to Denmark, and it is an absolutely beautiful, Copenhagen is an absolutely beautiful city. So I wanted to create a cocktail that would be reminiscent of this beautiful city. So in my glass is a cocktail called Danish Sunrise. For the recipe, please check out my Instagram page, which is where I will be posting all of my cocktail recipes as the tour or the Tour de Fleece challenge continues. I wanted to talk just a little bit about the Tour de Fleece. One, it's a challenge. It's not a competition. If you get to the very last day and you have an inch of yarn, you're a winner. Congratulations, you've done it. The Tour de Fleece is all about challenging yourself to either learn something new or to try something different. There are a lot of teams. You can either join a team. Facebook has a main Peloton. Peloton is considered the main group. So Facebook has a public Tour de Fleece page that you can join. Ravelry also has a Tour de Fleece option as well. For me this year, it is day one and I'm still prepping. And you know what? That's absolutely okay. And as I started to prep, I thought maybe some of you might be interested in the process that I go through because it might help you get focused as well. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about that today. So first and foremost, in a challenge like this, or where you have, essentially this is like a spin along. It runs from July 1st to July 24th this year. So there are 24 days of spinning. And really the only guideline is that you need to spin every day, or you need to make an attempt to spin every day, whether it's 1 minute or a few hours. It's entirely up to you. For me personally, I join a team 1 year and then I kind of take a year off. The last time I joined a team was back in 2020, and as I was reminiscing, I found the book that I created during that 2020 Tour de Fleece, and I wanted to kind of share that process because record keeping is so very, very important. It really is. So I just had a spiral. All this is a spiral notebook, and I pulled the spiral out and just did a quick Coptic binding on it. You can find tutorials for Coptic binding on YouTube. This year I will probably go through the tutorial when I finally put mine together. So when I did this one, I kept track of each stage, what the goals were, what I spun, how I spun it, and of course, the cocktail that I made as I was doing the spinning. So I'll just kind of thumb through there. Because I can't do anything the same way twice, this year I'm taking it in a little bit different direction. And this year I'm going to do it in terms of postcards and memos. So my cover is just 2 pieces of paper that I washi taped together, and I have some little Polaroids up at the top. I have the route overlaid on an overlay of the map because I want to be able to see the wine regions of France. And then I just have a big stamp, and so I will be taking notes at the end of each day. I am not going to do a whole lot of planning beforehand. I'm going to let each day unfold and then journal about it at the end of the day, kind of like a reflection. I also put together a fiber journal, and I pulled all of this information off of Ravelry. So basically you can do this electronically on Ravelry, but I'm old and I'm old school, so I like having a hard copy. So this just goes through my choices for processing and then spinning with a finished product. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in just a second. So if you're still thinking about jumping in and joining the Tour de Fleece, please do. It's never too late. If you happen upon this video next week and you want to jump in, go for it. You absolutely can. So record keeping is my primary goal and challenge this year. Finding good cocktails to sip while I'm spinning is another good goal. I really like this one. And then challenging myself to try and use different tools. Last year, I realized that I used one tool for the entire tour. And there's nothing wrong with that. I had a very specific goal in mind. I wanted to spin consistent yarn that I could weave with. And hopefully by the end of this tour, I'll have last year's project done as well, so I'll be able to show that. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about fiber prep and where you can get some of your fibers if you choose to do so. Inglenook is one of my favorite places to go for fiber, and this year they had two different colorways. They had Forest Ride, so this is beautifully blended braids, and I'm just going to leave it this way. This is my first one, so today I will be spinning this, and I will be spinning it on my e-spinner. And it matches my cocktail perfectly, which is another reason why I picked it. So this is my day one spin. So I am just going to set that over there for now. I am still prepping, like I said. So some of you might be experiencing this as well. I'm going to put this away for just a second. When I got this is Chateau. And I love all of these colors. However, as I was thinking about it, I have been doing so many separate color gradients, fractals, that I want to blend this. And so I wanted to go through the process of blending this to show you how I separate pieces out and blend that. And I'm going to do that in just a second. The last project that I set, this is Rocky, and I've already scoured it. I do have another one that I'll be scouring, but this is Jacob. And so I will be, on those challenge days, those mountain days, I am going to be carding this and spinning it on my traditional wheels. So I would like to, the challenge that I have set for myself is to use my spindles, my traditional wheels, and my e-spinners, or my electric wheels as well. So this will be on my electric wheel, this will be on my traditional wheel, this will be on my spindles. Making Rolags, for me, I've found are much easier to spin with supported spindles. So I would like to talk a little bit and show you the process of separating all of these out and creating Rolags that hopefully won't look like mud when I actually spin them. I'll be right back to show you how to do that in just a second. So the blending board that I'm using is one that I made using a remnant piece of carding cloth. If you choose to make your own blending boards, please make sure that you get carding cloth and not drum carder cloth. They are a little bit different. And I have two bamboo cutting boards that I secured with an inkle band that I made, so it is secure. I have a paintbrush that will help push the fibers down so I can layer it a little bit better. And then I have a couple knitting needles, which is what I'm going to use to take the fiber off of the board when I get done. Now, because I want to hold with these colors in each of the Rolags, I don't know, we'll have to see what it looks like once I get blending. I'm going to keep that up there so I have a guide. And then the first thing that I want to do is open up all of these fluffy little bats, and I like to lay them all out so I can see all of the variety and I can pull from there. Because as I look at these, I'm on the fence. I haven't decided if I'm going to put all of these together or if I'm going to do a warm and a cold. It's the wonderful thing about fiber. There are no fiber police, so you can do whatever you want. The board up. That's the nice thing. Because I don't know what this is going to look like, I am not going to fill the board all the way up to the top of each of these. I'm going to stop right there just to see what I've got. So remember at the beginning of today's show, I said that the Tour de Fleece was not a competition. This is a perfect example. I wasn't ready, and that's perfectly okay. And before I dive in and blend a bunch of Rolags that I might end up hating the final yarn, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to do a little bit of spinning. And this is what's going to constitute as my spin for today. So am I likely going to get the entire red braid done? No, probably not. And that's okay. I am still spinning because I am checking some things out. So I am going to be using my Spanish Peacock, one of my Spanish Peacock spinning bowls. And for those of you that know me, follow me on Instagram, you know that I love magnets. Magnets are my favorite thing because they secure bowls so well. And this dress doesn't have pockets, so I am just going to make sure that my bowl is secure and I'm at a good angle. This is actually a little bit high, but so let's hold that over. Up. There we go. Oh, that's better. Still secure. There we go. All right, this one I know I'm gonna like. It's this one that I'm a little bit concerned about. I don't know that I'm gonna like this one when I spin it up So I'm going to go ahead and get it started. And I don't use a leader, I'm just going to wrap it around. This is going to be challenging because there is so much texture in this fiber. So I'm going to spin thicker than what I normally do. Okay, I have the single, and so because I am testing this, I am just going to do a quick Andean flying bracelet. And Andean flying bracelets are fantastic for when you are sampling. It's also a great way to keep the fibers from twisting in on themselves. If you fly from a center pull ball, you're adding some additional twist. I personally don't have a problem with that. It's never affected my finished yarn, but then I am a process spinner. I'm not a product spinner, so I don't pay a lot of attention to twist, set, grist, all of those other pieces. I'm trying to get better at that, but mostly my spinning is just for the love of creating new, different, and varied yarn. This is going to be a very new, different, and varied yarn, especially for me. I'm not used to spinning tweeds, and the challenge, I kind of challenged myself without even knowing it. I don't typically spin tweeds or yarns with this much character on my support spindles. So today was kind of I did a lot of things today without actually meaning to. So very quickly, to create an Andean flying bracelet, you're just going to take one end, and I wrap it a couple times around my little finger, and then you're going to come down around your palm and back up to make an X, and then around your middle finger, and then you're going to continue doing this until the single is all on your hand. There are tools for this as well, and a tool is incredibly helpful if you have a larger amount than just one Rolag. I like Andean flying bracelets too because this is really giving me a good view, and I'll stop this in just a second, of the single. There. For all of you out there that are much better at color blending and you cringed when I blended all of those colors together into that Rolag, I can understand why. I am getting some muddiness. I did lose some of the definition. I've got quite a bit of sparkle in there. I don't know how I feel about this. We'll have to see in just, well, all right, I'm just going to keep going. So to ply, I'm going to take it off and just let it hang. And then I will start plying. I don't like plying on my support spindles especially in this case because I really want to see what that final yarn is going to look like. So I'm going to spin on my Turkish. And I do like spinning my Turkish supported as well. So I'm just going to move this guy up onto my lap a little bit more. Like so. To ply, I'm going to ply in the opposite direction that I spun. I'm a huge fan of a temporary cap. I do it with everything. That is the finished yarn. And I don't like it. It's different. So, lesson learned for today. I do not like blending all of those colors. Not a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to keep the cool colors together and I'm going to keep the warm colors together, which I know I should have done that in the first place. I did know better. I was just curious and I was experimenting, so I sacrificed one Rolag to the spinning gods, and who knows, I might be able to put it in weaving. It's not bad. The colors did stay. They didn't get as muddy as I thought. I still see all of the colors. I just don't like them all together. So, with that being said, day one of the Tour de Fleece, the grand depart. I am departing from what my original plan was. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm hopefully going to be able to post a few more shows as the tour progresses over the course of the next month. In the meantime, grab your spindle, grab your wheel, grab some fiber, and join in the fun. As always, happy spinning.